What is good, you guys, and welcome back to the Urban Hotspot, or welcome to the Urban Hotspot if this is your first time. This is the hub where you can find me talking about everything Black books, from urban fiction, street fiction, crime fiction, kind of all the same thing, Black romance, inspirational, self-help, all of that. I'm a lover of words, I'm a lover of books, and this is the first video of the year, the first book review of the year, and I'm like hella excited for it. I'm coming to y'all today. Obviously, I can't talk. I'm not about to keep taking takes, so y'all just gonna have to deal with me and my little blubbering ass, okay? Y'all be all right. And today, I want to come on here and share my favorite book of 2021, okay? Like, I only read like 6 of them motherfuckers, but I still know that if I would have read more books last year, this would still be my favorite book, just because I was able. This book hit different for me, okay? It was very relatable for me personally. I actually want to go through and read it again, so it will be getting reread in 2022, just because I have some changes in my life recently. I have people come into my life recently, and I feel like it would just hit different, okay? Like, I low-key found my own wood, sort of kind of like, anyway, but we're not gonna get on that. I didn't even tell y'all what the hell the book was. The book is Letting Go by Jay Ashlei. And Jay Ashlei is a good friend of mine. Like, the development of this book has been a journey for not only the author, but for me as well. This is a good friend of mine. And I'm not saying that this is my favorite book just because she is a friend of mine. But this is, like, genuinely how I feel about the book. And I feel like that anybody who read this book felt that way, because it was really, like, honestly, this book was fucking perfect. Fucking chef's kiss, bitch. Like, I'm not even playing with you. Like, I love this book so much. But let me go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and read y'all the synopsis. And if y'all see me looking down a lot, it's because I wrote notes on this shit, because I needed to make sure that I shared every fucking thing that I had to say about this book. So yeah, but let's go ahead and read the synopsis. It says, Darnell Reed was a normal 15-year-old girl, enjoying high school, getting good grades, and preparing for her future. But then something horrible happened that started a chain reaction of tragedy in her life. Now at 30, she has learned to exist, finding deep connections with people and with life impossible, subconsciously anticipating the next horrible thing. When a strange man comes into her life, making a ridiculous accusation against her, she's convinced that this is the tragic event that will finally kill her. Arnell Woodington is a successful businessman trying to distance himself completely from street life. Drug money was simply a means to an end, and now he wants to make his father proud and honor his deceased mother. His biggest hang-up is his best friend, who refuses to give up on the life of crime and go legit like Wood. Ooh. Oh, Lord. Just the mention of that motherfucker got... Ooh, okay, let me get into it. While Wood is battling with an inevitable decision about his friendship, he learns of a situation that could cost him everything he's built, as well as his freedom. He must revisit the life he wants to leave behind and take care of the woman who might be behind it all. I cannot wait to get into this review. Like, okay, let me pull out my notes real quick. Right away, the first thing that I noticed when I started reading the book, like the formatting of it, like, I'll go ahead and I'll show you guys what I mean. Like, it has the little, you know, it says Darnell on it, but I can't remember why. But the formatting was very visually pleasing for me. I feel like she went and did an update since then, or it just might be me thinking I'm tripping, or I'm probably thinking of another book. But still, it's still very visually pleasing to me, because obviously I wrote it down in my notes. But yeah, I think I only really noticed it because I had been reading books that the formatting on them, I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? It's different fonts, different colors. The chapters are kind of fucked up the way they're doing that. So I don't know. I just felt like this was very visually pleasing, and it was easy for me to read. Like, the formatting of it I didn't get lost in it like I have been some other books before. So I really like that. And again, I found this book to be just fucking so perfect. I would say, going into this story, if you were easily triggered by like sexual traumas and violence rape, sort of, kind of. No, yeah, there was rape in this bitch. So if you're sensitive to those types of things, then I would definitely go say that be careful. There are quite a few scenes that can be triggering for some people. Even if you go and look at the reviews, there are people that say this needs a trigger warning. There isn't a trigger warning on the book, but I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys know. I do believe she is working on that. I discussed it with her. But yeah, not only that, because there are scenes that are pretty triggering, I actually really appreciated them, because like she did not hold back. For one, she did not motherfucking hold back, bitch. And I'm just like, yo, what the fuck is going on? So I would say this is more of an urban book than you would think it is, because I don't even know what it's classified as. So it's like kind of like black romance, but I would say it's more urban romance than anything, because there are definitely those urban elements to it. The niggas in that motherfucker is definitely very street. So kind of be aware of that going in. So if you're not into like that urban drug dealing, always some bullshit going on, then you probably won't like this book. But I would say give it a try. Like, I would really say try it, because I think it would be something different that you would really enjoy. Because even the whole book in general, I found to be quite unique. Like, it gave me those feels of the black romance genre, because like I told you guys, I read everything. There are people that kind of just stick to what they like reading, but I have no preference. So with this book, it gave me those urban elements that I really like, and it was very raw, real, and uncut, and I think that's why I was able to relate to it so much, as well as both the characters were relatable for me, which is kind of crazy, because yeah, so there's Darnell and then there's Wood. Darnell I love her, okay? Like, I'm a person that I read books for the men. I think most women read books for the men, and I found myself more in love with Darnell than I did with Wood. Like, I still love the fuck out of Wood, like that's bae, but Darnell, like, bitch, like, I think it's because she reminded me so much of myself. One thing about Darnell is that when she's introduced in the book, I'm kind of all over the place, but that's literally how this book makes me feel. Like, it makes me feel so many things at one time that it's kind of hard to express what it is that I'm really trying to say, because there's so much I want to say at one time. But Darnell, she was very relatable to me, because I feel like a lot of women in books, especially ones in books, they are always very emotional. They always be caught up in their feelings, and I'm not that bitch, okay? Like, I might be in my head about some shit, and even if I am in my feelings, you ain't finna know that shit. Like, I'm not gonna be tripping. I'm not finna argue with you. I'm not finna do this. I'm not finna do that. And the thing about Darnell that made her very relatable to me is that she was like, a lot of the time she felt empty. She didn't feel anything. And I feel like I can really relate to that. Like, you have such traumatic things happening in your life to the point to where you kind of just you stay in your feelings so much, and your emotions are so overwhelming to you that at some point you turn them motherfuckers off, because they could literally be like your worst enemy. And I felt like that's where we were when we met Darnell. Not only that, because she did have some shit happen in her past. It made her, like, especially when you have sexual trauma, a lot of people who do have sexual trauma, they become hypersexual. And I personally can relate to that as well. So I just felt hella seen while reading this fucking book, bitch. Like, I felt seen as fuck. Okay? What else I got on this goddamn list? So let's talk about the relationship between Darnell and Wood, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tell y'all what's going on in the book. So in the book, she is a business owner, small business owner. She has like a online boutique selling like jewelry and purses and shit like that, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a minute since I read it. I think I read this shit back in like August, September, something like that. And starting off, so she's like focused on her business and shit, and then she's with her friend. She's talking with her friend. Her friend needs to go get a new car. They go to a dealership. The dealership is owned by Wood and his homeboy. And ooh. So while she goes to the dealership, she meets this dude, his name Mike. And long story short, they end up fucking around, right? One of the homeboy, what the hell is his name? His name is Dino. I'm pretty sure it's Dino because they say something. There is a mention about dinosaurs somewhere in there because she thought he was talking about a dinosaur. Anyway, Dino was there, and he saw her like later on. Long story short, she fucking goes home, and some days or a week or something later, she comes home drunk. I can't remember why she was drunk, but she came home drunk, and a motherfucker was in her house waiting for her. Wood was in that motherfucker waiting for her. Long story short, he put a gun in her face and shit, kidnapped the bitch, took her home. And it's one of those as well. It's a kidnapping type of story. That's a trope, right? Kidnapping? I'm pretty sure that's that type of thing. That's a thing. And he kidnapped her, and long story short, he's trying to figure out what to do about the situation. I'm trying not to give too many spoilers, okay? So he kidnapped her because there is an accusation that she stole some money from Dino. And because that's what Dino told Wood. So the money came from their business, something like that. And when they did it, sorry, I just got hella distracted because I saw somebody was knocking on this door. But he told Wood that she stole the money. He was pretty sure she had it, and Wood had to go get her ass because the money was from the business that they both own. And he wasn't trying to get caught up in some shit. So he goes, he snatches her up. He takes her to his house. His house is out like in the middle of the woods or some shit. And I told y'all, he kidnapped her. So in the process of kidnapping her, he's keeping her there. He's holding her hostage. She's kind of like staying in the room and shit. But long story short, they end up falling for each other. My favorite scene out of the whole fucking book is when they end up going to a fundraiser together. He takes her, like he's taking her out, all kinds of shit. Like they falling in love, bitch. And they're dancing together at the fundraiser, and everybody's just like watching them, and they're so like mesmerized by Darnell and her energy and how beautiful she is. She has this big, beautiful hair, natural hair, like much like how the cover is, which is another reason why I love the cover so much. And she's very soulful and magnetic, and the people who come in contact with her, they just eyes is on her, bitch. And I can relate to that as well. Like, cause when, like, if y'all ever met me in person, like, she hella cool. Like, I feel like y'all can feel my energy even through the camera and shit. Like, so that was just another thing that I could relate to. While she preferred to be alone and didn't really like dealing with people, much like myself. Again, that's trauma that I kind of had to figure out in 2021. I didn't even say that to you guys. That's a video that I posted over on my Instagram. So go ahead and go check on my Instagram and see where the fuck I was in 2021. So I had just a little plug. People were just like mesmerized by her. And even Wood in that moment was just like, damn, this bitch is beautiful. Like, and I was just like, oh my gosh. So something else that I really loved about this book, because also I can relate to it, especially now. Like, this is why I need to go and read it again. I'm surprised that I'm even remembering this much of the book, because I'm normally not that good, because I've read that shit like a long ass time ago. But that just really lets you know how memorable this book was for me and how much it impacted me. And she just like, the book was so, it was just everything. Okay, but let me get back to my point. As she started finding herself falling for Wood, like, my heart, she wanted to fight it. Like, naturally, we know how, like, women like Darnell and I, know how emotions can really get you in some fucked up situations. You know what I'm saying? It's not safe all the time. She felt that way. But when you meet the one, bitch, like the person that you know is for you, and you fall hard. Like, it don't matter. They could be doing the worst shit to you, and you still gonna love their ass, and you still gonna love them hard no matter what they do. And it's just like you're so fucking helpless to it because that love just really consumes you. You know what I'm saying? So I really felt that with Darnell and her struggle with that. Like, you know, something might not even be good for you, especially considering the situation that she was in and her being kidnapped and not even knowing if she's gonna make it out of this shit alive. And she couldn't help it. I remember there was something that happened to Wood and his family, and it was very extremely emotional. This book is very emotional. It really was. And I don't really like being in my feelings, but this was one of those things where, like, I allowed myself to get lost in this book, and that made me love it so much more. Like, I love some angst and some shit, okay? Like, I love loving a motherfucker that you're not supposed to love. Like, what the fuck is wrong with us when we do that? But that's initially how she felt, you know what I'm saying? And something happened, and basically the first time that they ended up having sex together, it was because it was one of those, I need to feel something other than what I'm feeling right now. And basically he was using her. Bitch, he came up to her, he put his hand around her throat, bitch, and I was just, oh. That shit was spicy. That shit was spicy. Anyway, y'all just gotta read the book because that shit, woo. Okay. And she knew that he was using her in that moment, but she was like, you know what? It's okay. You can do that. If this is what you need right now, I'll do that. And that it hit me hard in that moment, and I had to put the book down after that, after the scene, obviously after the scene. And I was like, wow, it was just, it was so amazing. But let's get on to the motherfucking villain of this book, okay? Fucking Dino, this motherfucker, okay? Like, I knew some shit was off about him from the motherfucking jump, okay? Like, I don't even know what to say about that motherfucker. That motherfucker was a trip. Like, he was tripping for real. Like, he was a fucking psychopath and a nut job, all right? Like, I can't even get into too much detail without giving away the juicy shit, but he's the one causing most of the goddamn drama and trauma and shit in this goddamn book. I need to know. I need part 2. Jay, ma'am, I know you got some things going on. I know you trying. But I'm gonna need you to try just a little bit harder, please. Because this book was so fucking amazing. Like, it was so good. Let me look through these notes. Darnell is hands down literally my favorite protagonist ever. I rarely ever like female protagonists. I rarely ever remember the name of the female protagonist. But Darnell, I will never fucking forget her because Darnell is me, okay? So yeah, I found myself attached to a lot of the people in a lot of the characters in these books. There wasn't an overwhelming amount of characters, and then I felt like she did very well with limiting, like, there wasn't a character in there that didn't have a purpose and that I didn't necessarily not find myself attached to, even if they were in the wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm still attached to them in some type of way. And I think that is amazing because I am a person that I will literally not give a fuck about a lot of characters, especially if I think they're dumb. But there was just, this book was just fucking everything. Like, let me see. Yeah, that's kind of it overall. Like, I really want you guys to go ahead and pick up this book and support my girl, because not only are you supporting her, but you're supporting a good ass book. Like, this shit is good. Like, I read this shit in one sitting. How many pages is it? Let me check. It's 284 pages, and I read this shit in one sitting. That was the first time I had done that at all in 2021. Okay, like it was that good. It kept me and my attention from beginning to end. Okay, so that is my review of Let Her Go by Jay Ashlei. Please go ahead and pick up that book. I am going to put a link in the description, as well as all the author's information down in the description. I will be writing a written review of this, and you can find it over on Instagram and over on the Urban Hotspot website at theurbanhotspot.com. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.